Imagine for a moment that time is not what you think it is. You've lived your entire life believing that time flows uniformly, that 1 hour for you is 1 hour for everyone else, everywhere in the universe. 1 day is 1 day. 1 year is 1 year. Time, we assume, is absolute. It's the same for everyone. But what if I told you that this fundamental assumption is wrong? What if time itself can stretch and compress? What if minutes could become years, and years could become mere moments? This isn't science fiction. This is science fact. In 1905, a young patent clerk named Albert Einstein published a paper that would forever change our understanding of reality. His special theory of relativity revealed something shocking. Time is not absolute. Time is relative. It can slow down or speed up depending on how fast you are moving or how strong the gravitational field around you is. This phenomenon is called time dilation. Let me explain this in the simplest way possible. Imagine you have a twin sibling. You both celebrate your 25th birthday together. Then, your twin boards a spacecraft and travels through space at nearly the speed of light, let's say 99% of light speed. Meanwhile, you stay on Earth, living your normal life. From your perspective on Earth, 50 years pass. You age normally. You turn 75 years old. You've lived half a century, experienced life, watched the world change, perhaps had children and grandchildren. But when your twin returns from their journey through space, something extraordinary has happened. They've only aged 5 years. While 50 years passed for you on Earth, only 5 years passed for them on the spacecraft. Your twin is now 30 years old, while you are 75. This isn't a thought experiment. This is real physics. This is time dilation. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. When you travel at speeds approaching the speed of light, time literally slows down for you relative to someone who is stationary. This has been proven experimentally with atomic clocks on airplanes, with GPS satellites, with particle accelerators. It's not theory anymore, it's measured, observable reality. But time dilation doesn't just occur with speed. It also occurs with gravity. The stronger the gravitational field you are in, the slower time passes for you. If you were to spend time near a black hole, where gravity is immensely strong, and then return to Earth, you would discover that much more time had passed on Earth than had passed for you near the black hole. In the movie Interstellar, the astronauts land on a planet near a massive black hole. They spend a few hours there. When they return to their spacecraft, they discover that 23 years have passed for their colleague who remained in orbit. This is accurate science, not Hollywood fantasy. Near that black hole, with its extreme gravitational field, time moved much slower for those on the planet's surface. This is the nature of our universe. Time is not fixed. It's flexible. It bends. It stretches. It compresses. Einstein gave us the mathematics. Modern physics has given us the proof. Time dilation is real. Now, here's where things get interesting. Einstein published his theory in 1905. The mathematical framework of general relativity came in 1915. For most of human history before that, no civilization on Earth had any concept of time dilation. The idea that time could pass differently for different observers was completely alien to human thought. Or was it? What if I told you that thousands of years ago, in ancient India, there were stories that described time dilation with stunning accuracy? Stories written long before Einstein, long before modern physics, long before humanity had any scientific framework to understand such concepts. These stories are found in the Mahabharata, one of the greatest epics of ancient India, composed somewhere between 400 BCE and 400 CE, though the events it describes are said to have occurred much earlier. And here's what's remarkable. Buried within the narrative of the Mahabharata are not one, but two explicit stories of time dilation. Stories where characters travel through time, not metaphorically, but literally. Where a few moments in one realm equals years or centuries in another. Where the relative nature of time is not just acknowledged, but is central to the plot. These aren't vague poetic metaphors. These are detailed narratives with specific descriptions of time passing differently in different realms, concepts that perfectly align with Einstein's relativity. How could this be? How could an ancient civilization have encoded knowledge of time dilation into their texts thousands of years before modern physics discovered it? Was it coincidence? Lucky guess? Or did the ancient sages somehow understand something profound about the nature of time and reality? Today, we are going to explore two of these stories. We'll tell them in detail, analyze them, and compare them directly to modern physics. And by the end, I want you to decide for yourself, are these just myths and legends? Or is there something more here, something that challenges our assumptions about ancient knowledge and the nature of reality itself? Let's begin with the first story, a tale of a king, his daughter, and a journey that spanned the ages. Our first story takes place in an age so ancient that it exists at the very edge of mythological memory, the Satya Yuga, also called the Golden Age. According to Hindu cosmology, time is cyclical. It moves through four great ages, or yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, the age we currently live in. Each age is progressively shorter and represents a decline in human virtue and lifespan. The Satya Yuga was the longest and most virtuous age, when humans lived for thousands of years and truth prevailed. In this golden age lived a powerful king named Kakudmi. He was also known as Revati, and he ruled from a prosperous kingdom. By all accounts, he was a wise and capable ruler, blessed with wealth, power, and a beautiful daughter named Revati. Revati was extraordinary. She was not only beautiful but also tall, strong, intelligent, and accomplished in all the arts. She was the jewel of her father's kingdom, and naturally, the time came for King Kakudmi to find her a suitable husband. But here was the problem: King Kakudmi couldn't find anyone worthy. He searched throughout his kingdom. He consulted with his advisors. He considered princes from neighboring realms. But no one seemed suitable for his exceptional daughter. Every potential suitor had some flaw: too weak, too foolish, too short, not noble enough, not accomplished enough. The king grew increasingly frustrated. This was an impossible task. Who in the mortal world could be a fitting match for Revati? Then, an idea came to him. An audacious idea. An idea that would change everything. King Kakudmi decided to go directly to Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, and ask for his counsel. After all, if anyone would know the perfect match for Revati, it would be the creator himself. So King Kakudmi and his daughter Revati set out on an extraordinary journey. They traveled beyond the mortal realm, beyond the earthly plane, ascending to Brahmaloka, the divine realm of Lord Brahma. Now, pay attention to what happens next, because this is where the story becomes remarkable from a physics perspective. When King Kakudmi and Revati arrived in Brahmaloka, they found Lord Brahma enjoying a musical performance by the celestial Gandharvas. Not wanting to interrupt, they waited respectfully for the performance to end. The performance concluded. Lord Brahma turned his attention to his visitors and welcomed them warmly. King Kakudmi bowed and explained his dilemma. He had been searching for a suitable husband for his daughter but had found no one worthy. He requested Lord Brahma's guidance. Lord Brahma listened. And then he did something unexpected. He laughed. Not mockingly, but with a kind of cosmic amusement. And then he said something that must have shattered King Kakudmi's reality. "My dear Kakudmi," Lord Brahma said, "while you were waiting here for just a few moments, listening to this brief musical performance, on Earth, an enormous amount of time has passed. The world you knew is gone. Entire ages have elapsed. All those princes you were considering as suitors for your daughter? They died long ago. Their children died. Their grandchildren died. Many generations have lived and perished. Think about that for a moment. King Kakudmi and Revati had been in Brahmaloka for what seemed like a short time, perhaps 20 minutes, maybe an hour, the length of a musical performance. But on Earth, entire yugas, entire ages, had passed. Lord Brahma explained that they were no longer in the Satya Yuga. That golden age had ended. The Treta Yuga had come and gone. They were now in the Dwapara Yuga, a different age entirely, thousands or tens of thousands of years after they had left Earth. This is explicit time dilation. Time in Brahmaloka passes at a different rate than time on Earth. A few moments in the higher realm equals vast stretches of time in the earthly realm. Does this sound familiar? It should. It's exactly what Einstein's relativity predicts. In areas of extreme gravitational fields, near massive objects, or in different reference frames moving at different speeds, time passes at different rates. A short time in one frame of reference can equal a long time in another. The story continues. King Kakudmi, stunned by this revelation, asked the obvious question, "Then who shall my daughter marry? Everyone we knew is gone." Lord Brahma smiled and gave him an answer, "Go to Earth, to the city of Dwarka. There you will find Lord Krishna and his elder brother, Balram. Balram is a powerful and virtuous man, an incarnation of the divine serpent Shesha. He is worthy of Revati. Offer her hand to him." King Kakudmi and Revati descended back to Earth, to a world transformed beyond recognition. The civilization they had known was ancient history. New kingdoms had risen and fallen. The geography itself had changed. They were strangers in a future world. They traveled to Dwarka and found Lord Krishna and Balram. King Kakudmi approached Balram with his request. But there was a problem. Revati was from the Satya Yuga, an age when humans were much taller, much stronger, much longer lived. She towered over everyone in this new age. In the Dwapara Yuga, humans were significantly shorter. Revati stood several feet taller than Balram himself. So Balram, using his divine powers, pressed down on Revati's head with his plough, his signature weapon, and reduced her height to match the humans of the Dwapara Yuga. And thus, the marriage took place. Revati, a woman from the distant past, became the wife of Balram in what was, for her, the distant future. This is time travel. This is time dilation. This is a story that explicitly describes what modern physics calls the twin paradox, where one person experiences less time than another due to traveling in a different reference frame. Let's break down what this story is describing in physics terms. Different realms is equal to different reference frames. Brahmaloka is described as existing in a different plane or dimension. In physics, different reference frames, especially those experiencing different gravitational fields or moving at different velocities, experience time differently. Time passes slower in the higher realm. While just minutes or hours passed in Brahmaloka, yugas, ages spanning thousands of years, passed on Earth. This matches what happens near massive gravitational fields or at high velocities. Time slows down for the traveler relative to the stationary observer. Return to find the world has changed. When King Kakudmi and Revati returned to Earth, everyone they knew is long dead, civilizations have risen and fallen, and they are essentially travelers from the ancient past. This is identical to the scenario of an astronaut returning from a near light-speed journey to find Earth has aged centuries while they've aged only years. Physical adaptation required. Revati's height had to be adjusted because humans in the new age were different. This detail adds a level of realism. If you truly traveled through vast stretches of time, you would find biological and environmental changes. Humans evolve. Environments change. This is not vague mythology. This is a detailed, coherent narrative of time dilation, written thousands of years before Einstein. Could the ancient sages have understood this through meditation? Through some form of direct perception of reality? Or is this story preserving knowledge from an even more ancient, technologically advanced civilization? We don't know. But what we do know is this: the story of King Kakudmi and Revati describes time dilation with remarkable accuracy. And it's not the only one. Our second story takes place during the Dwapara Yuga itself, the same age that Revati traveled forward to. This is the age of Lord Krishna, one of the most beloved figures in Hindu mythology, considered by many to be an avatar of the divine. Krishna was a complex figure, a warrior, a diplomat, a philosopher, and, according to this particular story, a master strategist who understood the nature of time itself. The story begins with a crisis. The kingdom of Mathura, where Krishna ruled, was under threat from a powerful and seemingly invincible warrior named Kalayavan. Kalayavan was a barbarian king, fierce and relentless. He had amassed a massive army and was marching toward Mathura with the intent to destroy it. Reports described him as extraordinarily powerful. No ordinary warrior could stand against him in battle. But here's the problem: Kalayavan had received a boon, a divine blessing. He had been granted the power that he could not be killed in battle. No weapon could slay him. No warrior could defeat him in direct combat. This created an impossible situation for Krishna. How do you defeat an enemy who cannot be killed? The people of Mathura looked to Krishna for guidance. The Yadav warriors were ready to fight, but Krishna, with his characteristic wisdom, saw a different path. "I will not fight Kalayavan," Krishna declared. "I will not even confront him with weapons." This shocked everyone. Krishna was known as a great warrior. Why would he refuse to fight? Some whispered that Krishna was afraid. Some mocked him. And thus, Krishna earned a name that would follow him, Ranchod, which means one who fled from battle or one who abandoned the battlefield. But Krishna was not fleeing out of fear. He was executing a plan that required perfect understanding of time, space, and human nature. As Kalayavan's army approached Mathura, Krishna did something unexpected. He walked out of the city alone. Unarmed. He stood at a distance, clearly visible to Kalayavan and his forces. Kalayavan, seeing Krishna standing alone, was overcome with arrogance and rage. Here was his great enemy, the legendary Krishna, standing before him without an army, without weapons. This would be easy. Kalayavan dismounted from his horse and charged toward Krishna, determined to capture or kill him personally. Krishna waited until Kalayavan was close. And then, he ran. Not in panic. Not in fear. But deliberately, strategically, leading Kalayavan exactly where he wanted him to go. Kalayavan chased Krishna through the countryside. "Coward," he shouted. "Stand and fight." But Krishna kept running, always staying just ahead, always visible but just out of reach. This chase went on for some time. And eventually, Krishna led Kalayavan to a specific location, a cave in the mountains. Krishna entered the cave. Kalayavan, consumed by his pursuit, charged in after him. Inside the cave, it was dark. As Kalayavan's eyes adjusted, he saw a figure lying on the ground, apparently asleep. In the darkness, the figure's form resembled Krishna. Thinking he had finally cornered his enemy, Kalayavan kicked the sleeping figure, intending to wake and attack him. But it wasn't Krishna. The man lying in the cave was a king named Muchukunda, a powerful and virtuous ruler from an age-long past. And here's where the story becomes extraordinary. Muchukunda had once helped the gods, the Devas, in their cosmic battles against the demons, the Asuras. These battles lasted for a very long time, and Muchukunda fought valiantly. When the battles finally ended, Muchukunda wished to go back to his kingdom on earth, to his people. But the gods informed him that his kingdom and his people had long perished, as the speed of time is different in the realm of the gods than that of the earth. While he fought in the realm of the gods, a millennia had passed on the earth. Hearing this, Muchukunda felt depressed and asked for a peculiar boon. Muchukunda made a simple request: I have fought for so long. I am exhausted beyond measure. Grant me sleep, uninterrupted, profound sleep. And grant me this boon: whoever disturbs my sleep shall be reduced to ashes by my gaze. The gods agreed. Muchukunda entered the cave and fell into a deep, timeless sleep. And there he slept. For how long? Years? Centuries? Millennia? The text suggests that Muchukunda slept through multiple yugas, through vast stretches of time. While he slept, the world outside transformed completely. Civilizations rose and fell. The age he knew ended and new ages began. But in the cave, in his divine sleep, time passed differently for him. What was eons outside was mere sleep inside. This is time dilation again. Just as in the story of Revati, we have someone experiencing time differently. Muchukunda, in his enchanted sleep, experiences almost no time passage while vast amounts of time pass in the outside world. Now, back to our scene. Kalayavan kicks the sleeping Muchukunda. Muchukunda awakens. After eons of sleep, or what was eons in the outer world, he is disturbed. He opens his eyes. His gaze falls upon Kalayavan. And in an instant, Kalayavan is incinerated. Reduced to ashes. The man who could not be killed in battle was destroyed, not by a weapon, not by a warrior, but by disturbing a sleeping king whose gaze carried the power of ages. Krishna appears at the mouth of the cave. Muchukunda, now awake, sees him. They speak. Krishna explains the situation, how much time has passed, how the world has changed, how Muchukunda's age is long gone. Muchukunda is disoriented, as anyone would be after waking up in what is essentially a different era. Krishna offers him guidance and liberation. And Muchukunda, realizing that his time in the world has passed, chooses to renounce worldly life and seek spiritual liberation. Meanwhile, Kalayavan's army, seeing their leader reduced to ashes and facing Krishna's brilliance, retreats. Mathura is saved without a single battle being fought. Krishna returns to Mathura. The name Ranchor, the one who fled, becomes a title not of cowardice but of supreme intelligence. He didn't need to fight. He understood the nature of time and used that understanding to achieve victory. Let's analyze this story through the lens of physics. God's revelation about speed of time. When Muchukunda wished to go back to earth, gods informed him about how the speed of time is different on God's realm and earth. This is nothing but the concept of time dilation. Return to a changed world. When Muchukunda awakens, he discovers that everything he knew is gone. His era has ended. New kingdoms, new people, new realities exist. He is, effectively, a time traveler from the past arriving in the future, exactly like Revati, and exactly like the astronaut returning from a near light-speed journey. Krishna's knowledge of time. What's most intriguing is that Krishna knew about Muchukunda and the cave. He understood that Muchukunda existed in this different temporal state and could be activated to solve his problem with Kalayavan. This suggests Krishna had knowledge of how time works, that different states, different realms, different conditions could alter the flow of time. This is not primitive mythology. This is sophisticated storytelling that incorporates concepts of relative time, different temporal reference frames, and the idea that consciousness and time are intimately connected. We've now explored two stories from the Mahabharata that describe time dilation with remarkable precision. The story of King Kakudmi and Revati shows us time passing differently in different realms, with minutes in a higher realm equaling yugas, ages, on earth. The story of Muchukunda and Kalayavan shows us a being sleeping through vast stretches of time in a special state, awakening to find the world completely changed. Both stories describe phenomena that wouldn't be understood by mainstream science until Einstein published his theories in the early 20th century. Both stories describe what we now call time dilation, the relative nature of time. So we are left with profound questions. How did the ancient authors of the Mahabharata know about time dilation? Was it pure coincidence? Did they simply invent creative stories that happened to align with physics discovered thousands of years later? Or did they have some form of knowledge, whether through advanced meditation practices, preserved wisdom from an earlier civilization, or some other means we don't understand, that allowed them to perceive the true nature of time? What does this tell us about ancient knowledge? For centuries, we've assumed that ancient peoples were primitive, that their myths were simple stories to explain natural phenomena they didn't understand. But what if we've been wrong? What if encoded in these ancient texts is genuine knowledge about the nature of reality, knowledge that we are only now rediscovering through modern science? Is time really as we perceive it? Perhaps the most profound question is about the nature of time itself. Modern physics has shown us that time is not absolute. It's relative. It bends. It stretches. It can be experienced differently by different observers. The ancient Hindu cosmology always described time as cyclical, as multilayered, as something that flows differently in different realms. Were they right all along? Einstein showed us that time is the fourth dimension, intimately connected with space. Quantum physics suggests that time might not even exist at the fundamental level of reality, that it's an emergent property, a construct of consciousness. Could it be that the ancient sages, through deep meditation and inner exploration, accessed this same truth? That they understood time not through mathematics but through direct experience? The invitation to wonder. I'm not here to give you definitive answers. I'm here to invite you to wonder. Wonder about the nature of reality. Wonder about what ancient civilizations might have known. Wonder about the relationship between consciousness, time, and existence itself. The stories of Revati and Muchukunda are waiting in the Mahabharata, preserved across millennia. They describe time dilation. They describe relative time. They describe concepts that Einstein would formalize only in the last century. Coincidence? Hidden knowledge? A glimpse into a deeper reality? You decide. But one thing is certain, the more we learn about the universe through modern physics, the more we find echoes, sometimes startling, precise echoes, in ancient texts that we once dismissed as mere mythology. Perhaps the ancients knew more than we give them credit for. Perhaps these stories are more than stories. Perhaps they are maps to understanding realities we are only beginning to comprehend. And perhaps, just perhaps, The boundary between ancient wisdom and modern science is far thinner than we ever imagined. The stories are there. The physics is there. The mystery remains. What do you think?